Chris Chan for KaijuPop.com, and this is Lost Toys from Barking Mouse Studio. It's their first game. It's on iOS, or it's coming to iOS next week, January the 9th, I believe. And yeah, despite the fact that this is, it's a small team of, how many people is that? 5, 6? There you go. 6 people, and it's the first game to come out there. It's been getting a fair bit of attention already. I know back at Tokyo Game Show last year, it won an award at Sense of Wonder Night, the indie event for best design. So people are really sort of behind the game's art and sounds. I mean, it's got, obviously you can see right here, a very sort of relaxing, slightly chilling in a way art style of these toys hanging in a deserted room, and really nice relaxing piano music in the background. I'm going to start with some easy levels so I don't look quite as stupid as I am in reality. Whoosh. So the idea with Lost Toys is that you're in this sort of dark, deserted room with a bunch of wooden toys. It takes wooden toys as its inspiration, and obviously these toys have long since been forgotten, and they're kind of lonely, and their paint's chipped away and whatnot. And as you can see, they look kind of broken because they're sort of layered in sort of slices along different axes like a Rubik's Cube. And what you have to do is pan around the object with the camera, but just by touching anywhere on the screen that isn't the object itself. And then, yeah, I can rotate parts of the object here, so I spin that around, and oh look, a fire truck, there you go. And then it kind of comes back to life, and so to speak, I mean, the colour comes back to it. So it's a game about restoring these objects. You can see in as I get past the first stage here, on the left or the top, if you've got your head craned at 90 degrees, there's a bit of a weird UI thing going on there. I have 2 circles. That's the number of attempts that I have to get this right. So I know this is a car of some sort, so I need to do that, I need to do that. And there we go, it's an ambulance, fire engine. So yeah, the game's arranged into chapters, and each chapter has a certain theme. So here, it's transport and cars and things, and then there's a section where it's animals. There's a section where it's sort of militaristic stuff. There's a section where this looks like it's done, but it's not. It's because this is upside down. There you go. So yeah, it starts out simply enough, but it gets a lot harder later on. So even now, looking at this helicopter, it's a little bit trickier. Not really. Wait, no. Is this? Oh yeah, this is where it gets tricky, because that middle bit's back to the front. So if I've used up all my 3 attempts here, I can't do anything more, which is a little bit frustrating to me. It's my mild frustration with this otherwise really relaxing game, is that when you first see one of these things, although it's obvious here right now, because I can see there's a rotor blade there, it seems obvious now that, okay, this is a helicopter, but have I screwed it up again? No. Yes, I have. But, it's like situations like this, much with a Rubik's Cube, when you first figure out how to do one, it's, you're taking an inordinately high number of steps than you really need, but I feel with this game that I want to experiment with these objects a lot more than it's letting me. But it's saying once I get to 3 attempts, like, no, we're gonna stop you from doing any more, from doing any more damage, and that's a shame, I think. There we go. that's a shame. I think I would just like to fiddle. No, let me, even if it takes 1,000 steps, let me figure out this thing by myself, rather than capping. I mean, it seems every sort of puzzle game and his dog has a middle system, on iOS, and perhaps that's what they were trying to get away from. But there's value to that. I would kind of done. No, not done. I would kind of like the ability just to experiment a little bit, because as it is, you get to this situation, you get kind of stuck, and then you're kind of left to hit the hints, which are on the top right there, your top left of your screen. You can see there's a little question mark, and if I tap that, it gradually unveils hint after hint on how to get this thing done. Except the last, it does everything except the last stroke. It does everything except for this bit, which is turned back right way around. And that, when the levels get more complex, it feels like, well, I mean, it's cheating. I mean, there are different achievements for, for not using the hints, but at the same time, you do kind of feel, well, I'm not being prevented from doing this, from undoing my mistakes and then letting the game figure this out for me. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame structurally, because the temptation to cheat is too great, but that's sort of getting away from the fact that the game itself is really, really relaxing and just a really nice sort of little experience to play. It's about kind of parsing what these objects are. It seems pretty easy enough in these early stages to figure out, oh, this is a car, police car. But later on, it's kind of, it gets a little bit tricky to understand what these items actually are, and then sort of painting in their sort of sense of worth to somebody is really interesting. And it's interesting as well that, perhaps it's a little bit of a shame that there isn't a narrative to this. I mean, you always sort of see abandoned toys and this abandoned toys in this abandoned room in the background. It feels like there should be a more explicit narrative there, but I think to an extent it works in the game's favor as well. You're kind of left to literally paint in, as you're painting these toys, sort of fill in the own gaps of what kind of kid had these toys in the first place, and what are they missing, and it's sort of contemplative in that respect, which is helped on by this really nice piano music, and it's, yeah, as I said, very relaxing. Just looking at it, it seems very, very much like Zenbound, which is another sort of ancient iOS classic, and it seems a lot of these older iOS favorites are getting revived recently with sequels, but it feels very much like Zenbound does. Just being, there's no time pressure on you, it's just a number of moves thing, and yeah, as I said, extremely relaxing. Hey, a Jack in the Box. But as we go, and I think actually I chose continue, but continuing from much earlier on. Never mind. It seems I did chapter 1 again. It seems to continue from chapter 2 rather than continuing from chapter 5 where I am. So there's that. Be careful of that. Yeah. Another thing, just a minor little instance, I can't seem to quit out of this to just get to a level select, so that might have been handy, but so it's a little bit difficult to start around, but yeah, if you like your puzzlers really sort of slow, chilled out and relaxing, but brain teasing, it does get a lot harder as these shapes get more complex. They fill in more axes, and you can have up to sort of, I think 10 moves or so is the maximum that I've reached so far. So it does get really, really tricky. It's Lost Toys. It's on iOS next week. It's well worth checking out, I think. Chris Charlton for CodeRepop.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.